Be me. 26 years old, regular office job doing some boring data entry stuff, pretty quiet life overall. Not exactly the party type, mostly just work and chill at home, watching whatever's on Netflix. Life's been kind of boring lately. Same routine every single day without much variation happening. Wake up, coffee, work, Netflix, sleep. Repeat like some kind of depressing corporate hamster wheel. One evening, decide to check out this new bar downtown that people at work keep mentioning. Just wanted to try something different for once instead of my usual hermit routine. Walk in, place is pretty decent, not too crowded, but has that comfortable neighborhood vibe. Order a beer and sit at the counter, scrolling through my phone like the antisocial person I am. Suddenly hear this girl arguing with the barista about their milk selection or something ridiculous. She's going off about how they don't have soy milk in what seems like genuine outrage. Barista looks confused as hell, probably never dealt with someone so passionate about dairy alternatives. Girl notices me smirking at the whole absurd situation and turns around with this challenging look. You think this is funny or something, asshole? Tell her it's 2024 and they don't have soy milk. That's actually hilarious in a pathetic way. She starts laughing too, like really laughing, not just being polite about my stupid comment. Right? What kind of establishment is this supposed to be anyway? We end up talking for like 2 hours straight about everything and absolutely nothing important. Her name's Lena, 24, works in marketing or something creative that sounds way cooler than my soul-crushing job. Super energetic person, makes jokes about literally everything we discuss, never runs out of things to say. Has this way of talking that just draws you in and makes you forget about time passing. When she laughs, she throws her head back like she doesn't give a damn who's watching or judging. Around midnight, she says she has to go because she's got some important meeting early tomorrow morning. This was actually fun. We should definitely do it again sometime if you're not too boring. Exchange numbers, she texts me before I even get home to my depressing little apartment. Thanks for making my soy milk crisis entertaining instead of just embarrassing as hell. Next few days, we're texting constantly throughout the day and well into the evening hours. Not the usual boring, "how was your day" bullshit that makes you want to throw your phone. She sends random photos of weird things she sees walking around the city during her lunch breaks. Asks weird philosophical questions like, if you could only eat one food forever, what would it be and why? Actually makes me think about stuff I never bothered considering before meeting her. First real date happens maybe a week later when our busy work schedules finally line up properly. Meet at this coffee place downtown. She shows up 15 minutes late, looking slightly frazzled and apologetic. Sorry? Got completely distracted by a street performer doing magic tricks outside the subway station. Turns out she actually stopped to watch the whole damn show instead of just walking by. That's just how she is apparently. Gets caught up in random moments that most people would ignore. We walk around the city for hours, just talking and looking at random architectural stuff. She points out different buildings and makes up elaborate fictional stories about who lives there. See that window on the 3rd floor with all the plants? That's definitely where a failed novelist lives. How could you possibly know that from looking at a random window, you psychic or something? Trust me, I can sense these things about people. It's like my useless superpower. By the end of the night, we're sitting on some random bench in a small park. She's telling me about this documentary she watched about penguin behavior and their weird migration patterns. Suddenly leans over and kisses me without any warning or dramatic movie-style build-up moment. Just like that. No big romantic gesture or anything. As natural as breathing or blinking. Feels right in a way that surprises me since I'm usually awkward with this stuff. Start seeing each other pretty regularly after that first date goes better than expected. Maybe 3 times a week, sometimes more when our unpredictable work schedules actually allow it. She's always suggesting random stuff to do instead of the usual boring dinner and movie routine. Mini golf at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday because she noticed it was still open while driving by. Drive to the beach just to watch the sunset and eat overpriced gas station snacks. Try that new Thai place everyone's been talking about, even though it's halfway across town. Month in, she starts staying over sometimes on weekends and the occasional weeknight. Leaves a toothbrush in my bathroom without making it into some huge relationship milestone discussion. A couple of her shirts end up mixed in with my stuff in the closet. Makes coffee in the morning like she's been doing it forever in my tiny kitchen. Feels pretty natural and comfortable, not forced or like we're trying too hard to play house. We start talking about future stuff in a casual way that doesn't feel terrifying for once. She mentions this road trip she wants to take next summer to visit some national parks. We should rent one of those ridiculous, oversized RVs and just drive around for a week or two. We? Yeah, obviously we. Unless you're planning to dump me by then for someone more interesting. Says it jokingly, but looks at me seriously for a second, like she actually cares about the answer. Around month 2, she brings up moving in together as a legitimate possibility we should consider. Not like immediately or anything crazy, but maybe in a few months when it makes financial sense. My lease is up in December anyway, and rent is getting absolutely ridiculous in this city. Start looking at apartment listings together during lazy Sunday mornings in bed. She saves the ones she likes and sends them to me at work with enthusiastic comments. Look at this kitchen. We could actually cook real food instead of ordering takeout constantly like degenerates. Everything feels like it's heading somewhere real and substantial for the first time in years. Not just casually hanging out and seeing what happens, but actually building something meaningful together. She talks about meeting my parents eventually when the timing feels right for everyone involved. Asks about my college friends and wants to hear embarrassing stories from my awkward past. Seems genuinely interested in my boring life and all its mundane, unimpressive details. But there's this weird thing I start noticing after we've been together for a couple months. She never really talks about her friends in any specific or detailed way that makes sense. I mean, she mentions having them occasionally, but it's always super vague and non-committal. Oh yeah, I'm hanging out with some people tonight. Should be fun, I guess. My friends want to try that new restaurant that just opened downtown last week. Never names, never specific details, never stories about things they actually did together. Try asking about them sometimes when the conversation naturally goes in that direction. What's your friend Sarah like as a person? Or, how long have you known your college friends? She just goes, oh, you know, they're cool people. You'll meet them sometime soon, probably. Then changes the subject pretty quickly to something completely different and unrelated. Figure maybe she's just private about her social life, or doesn't like mixing different friend groups. Never see her texting other people when we're together, hanging out, watching movies, or eating dinner. Never gets calls from friends while we're spending time together on weekends. It's like her entire social circle just doesn't exist when I'm around her. Start wondering if maybe she doesn't have many close friends, or prefers keeping a small circle. Some people are just like that, prefer intimate one-on-one relationships over complicated group dynamics. Few times I suggest doing double dates or group activities with our respective friend circles. We should hang out with some of your friends and mine, make it a fun group thing. She always says, yeah, totally. We'll definitely set something up soon when everyone's schedules work out. But soon never actually comes, and weeks pass without any concrete plans being made. Always has some excuse when I bring it up again a few days later. Start feeling like I only know half of her life and personality somehow. The half that includes me and our developing relationship. But what about the rest of her world? Everyone has friend groups, inside jokes, shared history with people they've known for years. She talks about her childhood and past experiences, but never mentions specific people from those times, almost like she appeared fully formed just for our relationship without any prior social context. Month 3 rolls around, and I'm starting to feel like something's definitely off about this situation. Not with us exactly or how we interact when we're alone together, but with the whole picture of her life outside of our little romantic bubble. She's making concrete plans for our future together, talking seriously about shared apartments and trips. But I've never met a single person from her actual life outside of our relationship. Try not to overthink it, because I have a tendency to do that with literally everything. Maybe she's just really protective of her friendships and likes to keep things compartmentalized. Some people prefer to keep different parts of their life completely separate from each other. Doesn't necessarily mean anything bad or suspicious about our relationship specifically. She's great with me and treats me well. That's what actually matters in the end, right? Month 4 comes and goes. She's still talking about future plans like we're definitely solid. Shows me apartment listings online and discusses what kind of furniture we'll need. We definitely need to get a decent couch. Mine is literally falling apart at this point. Acts like we're already practically living together and planning our shared domestic life. But still, absolutely no mention of me meeting her mysterious friend group. It's like I'm important enough for major life decisions and long-term planning, but not important enough for her social circle or the people she's supposedly known the longest. Starting to feel like I'm living in some weird, isolated bubble with her. Beginning to wonder if there's something about me that makes me unsuitable for friend group inclusion. Month 5 hits, and she mentions going to some party with her friends over the weekend. Doesn't invite me or even mention the possibility of me coming along for once. Just says she'll be busy Saturday night and will see me Sunday instead. When I ask what kind of party it is, she just says it's nothing special or interesting. Just a casual hangout with people. Probably not really your scene anyway. Feel kind of hurt by that assumption, but don't want to make a big deal about it. What does she mean it's not my scene? How would she know if I've never met them? Sunday comes and she shows up at my place seeming normal, but slightly different somehow. Like she's being more careful about what she says, or filtering her words. When I ask how the party was, she just says it was fine. Nothing particularly exciting happened. No funny stories, no drama, no details about anything that actually occurred. Just fine. And then she changes the subject to what we should watch on TV. Start to realize that I don't actually know much about her social life at all. Not just that I haven't met her friends, but I don't know anything substantial about them. Their names, how she knows them, what they do for work, what they're like as people. It's like she has this completely separate existence that's totally hidden from me, beginning to feel like maybe I'm not as important to her as I initially thought. Month 6 finally arrives, and something changes in how she talks about her social plans. She's been going out more frequently, but still never includes me in any of it. Mentions names occasionally now, but never in any context that helps me understand who these people are. Ryan said this, Derek did that, but I have no idea who Ryan and Derek actually are to her. One evening, she's getting ready to go out, putting on makeup and a nice dress. Where are you going tonight that requires getting all dressed up? Just meeting some friends at this new place downtown. Nothing too fancy. Which friends? Anyone I might know. Just the usual group. You don't know them. Watch her leave, looking really good, heading off to spend time with these mysterious people. Spend Saturday night alone, wondering what they talk about, what they do together, whether she mentions me at all, or if I just don't exist in that part of her life. Starting to feel like a secret she keeps, rather than a boyfriend she's proud of. Week later, she comes home from work, looking excited about something. So, there's this party next weekend. Kind of a big deal. Everyone's going to be there. Sounds fun. What's the occasion? Derek got promoted at his job, so we're celebrating at his place. First time she's mentioned a specific event with actual details. That's cool. Should be a good time. She pauses for a moment, like she's considering something carefully. Actually, maybe you should come with me this time. Feels surprised and relieved at the same time. Really? You want me to meet your friends? Yeah, I think it's time. We've been together for 6 months now. I'd love to meet them. I've been wondering about these people for months. She smiles, but it looks a little forced or nervous. Just be yourself. They're going to like you fine. Spend the week leading up to the party feeling anxious and excited at the same time. Finally, going to meet the mysterious friend group and understand what they're actually like. Maybe they really are just different from me, and she was being considerate by waiting. Maybe once we meet, everything will make sense and feel normal again. Saturday night arrives, she picks me up, and we drive to Derek's apartment across town. She seems nervous too, keeps adjusting the radio and checking her makeup in the mirror. You sure this is okay? I don't want to crash someone's celebration. It's fine. Derek said I could bring someone if I wanted to. Someone? Not specifically me. He doesn't know you yet, so yeah, just someone. We get to this apartment building, park on the street behind a bunch of other cars, can hear music and people talking loudly from the sidewalk outside. She takes a deep breath before we start walking up the stairs. Ready for this? She asks, but she seems to be asking herself more than me. Get to the apartment door. She knocks and waits. Door opens, and there's this guy, maybe late 20s, holding a beer and looking pretty drunk already. Lena! Finally made it, he says, and gives her this big, enthusiastic hug. She hugs him back, then turns to me with what looks like a practiced smile. Derek, this is Jake. She pauses for just a second, like she's choosing her words very carefully. Jake is my friend. The word hits me like a punch to the stomach. Friend? After 6 months of dating, planning to move in together, talking about meeting my parents, after staying over at each other's places multiple times a week and making serious future plans, after all the conversations about commitment and taking our relationship to the next level, I'm her friend. Derek shakes my hand with a big drunk smile. Nice to meet you, dude. Any friend of Lena's is welcome here. Thanks for having me. Walk into the apartment feeling like my brain is full of static electricity. There are maybe 10 or 12 people there, music playing, everyone drinking and talking loudly. She leads me over to get drinks from the kitchen counter. What do you want, beer or wine? Beer is fine. Hand me a bottle, but won't make eye contact for some reason. She introduces me to a few other people the exact same way every single time. This is my friend Jake. Not boyfriend, not the guy I'm planning to live with next month, not the person I spend half my nights with, just friend. Like I'm some random acquaintance she decided to bring along. Try to act normal, even though I feel like I'm going to be physically sick. Smile and shake hands and make small talk with these people I've heard about for months, who apparently have no idea that we're in what I thought was a serious relationship, who think I'm just some random friend she hangs out with occasionally. Sit down on the couch next to her, but she doesn't act coupley at all. No hand-holding, no casual touches, no inside jokes or intimate glances. Acts like we're just two people who happen to know each other from somewhere. Like we didn't spend last night discussing paint colors for our potential shared apartment. Derek comes over and sits down across from us with his beer. So, Jake, how do you know our girl Lena here? We met at a bar a few months ago. Technically true, but feels like a massive lie given everything that's happened since. Cool. She's pretty awesome, right? Yeah, she's great. What else can I say? That I thought I was in love with her until 5 minutes ago? That we've been planning a future together that apparently doesn't exist? Another guy, must be Ryan based on stories she's told me, joins the conversation. Lena, When are you going to settle down and find yourself a serious boyfriend? She laughs, like this is the funniest thing anyone's ever said. Maybe someday when I meet the right person. I'm sitting literally 2 feet away from her listening to this. 6 months of what I thought was us getting serious, building something real together. And to her friends, I'm just some random guy while she's still looking for the right person. Feel completely invisible, like I'm watching a movie about someone else's life. Ryan continues the joke. You're too picky, that's your problem. I just have standards, she says with a big smile. Everyone laughs, including her, like this is their regular ongoing joke. I sit there wondering if this is some kind of elaborate prank. Derek starts telling this story about some guy who tried to hit on her at a different party last month, making fun of his pickup lines and how pathetic he was. She's laughing along, adding details to make the story even more ridiculous. But she was with me last month. We spent almost every weekend together. When did this even happen? What other social life has she been living without me? Realize there's probably a whole version of her existence that I know absolutely nothing about. She goes out without telling me, meets people, has experiences, lives this completely separate life, and in that life, our relationship apparently doesn't exist at all. Ryan makes some crude joke about her needing to get some action. Everyone laughs. She hits him playfully and tells him to shut up. But she doesn't correct him or mention that she's actually seeing someone regularly. Just goes along with the idea that she's completely single and available. Feel like I'm in some kind of alternate reality sitting there on that couch, watching her perform, being someone else entirely. Someone who doesn't have a boyfriend of 6 months. Someone who's still actively looking for the right person to settle down with. She gets up to go to the bathroom, leaves me sitting with her friends. They try to include me in their conversation, which is nice of them, I guess. Ask what I do for work, how long I've known Lena, if I'm from around here originally. Answer their questions, but feel like I'm lying about everything. You should ask her out, man, Derek says after a few minutes. She's been single forever. Probably wouldn't mind dating a nice guy for once. Think she'd be interested in someone like me? Why not? You seem cool, and she obviously likes you enough to bring you here. This guy is encouraging me to ask out my girlfriend of 6 months, who I was planning to move in with next month, who introduced me to them as her friend 20 minutes ago. Feel like I'm losing my mind. She comes back from the bathroom and sits down next to me again, but maintains that careful friend distance, no casual physical contact. Continues talking to everyone like I'm just some guy she brought along to the party. No acknowledgement that we have any kind of special relationship or connection. Party continues. More people show up, music gets louder. She mingles with everyone, laughing and joking and being social. I mostly just sit there feeling like an extra in a movie I don't understand. Watching her be this version of herself that I've never seen before. Someone suggests playing some drinking game. Everyone gets excited and forms a circle. We all sit on the floor. She sits across from me instead of next to me. Game involves answering personal questions and taking drinks. When it's her turn, she talks about being single, about dating disasters, about wanting to find someone special. One question is about the last person you kissed romantically. She says it was some random guy at a bar a few weeks ago that didn't go anywhere. But she kissed me goodnight, literally, yesterday evening. Either she's lying to them, or our kisses don't count as romantic somehow. Listen to her talk about her dating life like I'm a complete stranger. Describing what she's looking for in a partner, what kind of relationship she wants, all while I'm sitting there thinking we already have that relationship. Apparently we don't, or it doesn't count, or I misunderstood everything. Game goes on for another hour. I barely participate. Just drink when I'm supposed to and try to process what's happening. She continues being social and funny and charming with everyone. but treats me like I'm just some random person she barely knows. Around midnight, people start leaving. Party begins winding down. She says we should probably head out too, since it's getting late. Says goodbye to everyone. They all hug her and tell her not to wait so long before coming around again. Few people tell me it was nice meeting me. Hope to see me around again sometime. But they say it in that casual way you talk to someone's random friend, not like someone's boyfriend, who they'll definitely be seeing more of. Get in her car and drive back toward my apartment, mostly in silence. She hums along to the radio like nothing unusual happened. That was fun, right? I told you they'd like you. Look at her like she's completely lost her mind. You introduced me as your friend. Yeah, so we've been dating for 6 months, Lena. She looks genuinely confused by my reaction to the whole situation. I know that, but they don't need to know all the details of my personal life. Details? You mean the fact that we're in a relationship? It's just easier this way, less complicated for everyone involved. Easier for who, exactly? Look, they're my friends from before we started dating. It's just different. Different how? Why can't they know you have a boyfriend? It's not that they can't know. I just prefer to keep things separate. You literally told them you're single and looking for someone to settle down with. She doesn't have a good answer for that one. We sit in her car outside my apartment building. 6 months of what I thought was a real relationship. Planning to move in together, talking about meeting families, making future plans. But to her friends, I'm just some random guy she brings to parties sometimes. Are you embarrassed by me or something? No, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. Then why did you spend the entire night acting like we're not together? I wasn't acting like anything. I was just being normal with my friends. Normal would be introducing your boyfriend as your boyfriend. She gets frustrated, says I'm making a big deal out of nothing important. That labels don't really matter. What matters is how we feel about each other. But apparently how we feel about each other is something she hides from everyone else. Do they even know we're planning to move in together? That's between us. It's not really their business. Get out of her car feeling more confused than when the evening started. Instead of getting answers about her mysterious social life, I just have more questions. Who is she really? What does she actually want from this relationship? What kind of relationship exists only in private? Next morning, she texts me like nothing happened. Hope you're not too hungover. That was fun last night. Don't respond right away because I honestly don't know what to say. How do you have a normal conversation after something like that? She calls me later that day from work. Are you mad about last night or something? I'm not mad. I'm confused about what just happened. Nothing happened? We went to a party, you met my friends, everyone had a good time. You introduced me as your friend after 6 months of dating. She sighs like I'm being completely unreasonable about the whole thing. Look, can we just move past this? It was one night. It doesn't mean anything. It meant something to me. You're overthinking this, making it bigger than it needs to be. Maybe. Or maybe you're making our relationship smaller than it actually is. We argue in circles for 20 minutes without getting anywhere. She insists I'm overreacting to something completely meaningless. I try to explain how it felt to be erased from her life for an entire evening. Neither of us is really listening to what the other person is actually saying. Hang up the phone feeling worse than before we talked. Spend the rest of the day wondering if I really am overreacting. Maybe some people just compartmentalize their relationships differently than I do. Maybe it doesn't actually mean anything about how she feels about me personally, but it felt like it meant something when it was happening in real time. Felt like being told I'm not important enough to claim publicly, like I'm good enough for the private, domestic stuff, but not the social stuff, like I'm her secret rather than her boyfriend. Few days pass, things between us feel strained and artificial somehow. She's being extra nice, like she's trying to make up for something, but also defensive whenever the party situation comes up in conversation. Like I'm wrong for being bothered by the whole thing. Why is this such a big deal to you? Because I need to know what this relationship actually is. It's whatever we want it to be. But what do you want it to be? Because I thought I knew, but apparently I was wrong. She doesn't answer that question directly. Just says we're good together, we have fun, we care about each other. But caring about someone and being proud enough to claim them are different things. And I'm starting to realize she might care about me, but not be proud of me. Week later, I ask her directly what I am to her. Are we actually together, or are we just hanging out? Of course we're together. Why would you even ask that? Because you introduced me as your friend to people you've known for years. That doesn't change anything between us. It changes everything between us. How? We still see each other all the time. We still make plans together. But it's all private, like you're ashamed of me or something. I'm not ashamed of you. I just like keeping different parts of my life separate. But that's not what happened at the party. She didn't just keep me separate. She actively pretended we weren't together. Talked about being single, about looking for the right person. Made me feel like I was sitting there under false pretenses. I need to know if you see a future with me. Of course I do. We've been talking about moving in together. But do your friends know that? Do they know you're planning a future with someone? They don't need to know everything about my private life. Dating someone for 6 months isn't exactly private. She gets quiet, stares at her hands for a long time. Maybe I'm just not ready for everyone to know how serious we are. After 6 months, you're not ready? Maybe not. And there it is, finally some honesty. What exactly are you not ready for? I don't know. The pressure, the expectations, everyone having opinions about us. So you'd rather pretend I don't exist? That's not what I'm doing. Then what would you call it? We sit in silence for a while, both of us knowing something fundamental has shifted. Feel like I've been dating someone who doesn't actually exist. Or maybe I exist, but only in this limited context she's created for us, like I'm playing a role in her life rather than actually being part of it. I think I need some time to figure out what I want. What does that mean exactly? It means maybe we should take a break while I sort things out? A break from what? From pretending we're not together. A break from trying to force something that maybe isn't working. Feel relieved and devastated at the same time somehow. Relieved that the confusion and uncertainty is finally ending. Devastated that 6 months meant so little to her that she can just walk away. So, that's it? We're done? I think it's better this way for both of us. She leaves that night and doesn't come back. Takes her toothbrush and her shirts and disappears back into her separate life. The one where I never existed in the first place. Where she's still single and looking for the right person to settle down with. Next day, I ask her why she introduced me as her friend. I didn't know how they would react. Didn't want anything serious while what? While I figured out if this was going somewhere. 6 months wasn't long enough to figure that out. She says she needed more time, that she wasn't ready to make it official, that introducing me as her boyfriend would have made it real in a way she wasn't prepared for. So, what was I then, for all those months? You were important to me, but not important enough to admit I existed. That afternoon, I pack up the few things she left in my apartment. Her coffee mug, a book she was reading, a sweater she forgot in my closet. Put it all in a box and leave it outside her door with a note. Thanks for 6 months of whatever that was. Week later, I run into Derek at a coffee shop downtown. He recognizes me from the party and comes over to say hello. Hey man, how's it going? Haven't seen you around lately. I'm doing all right, keeping busy with work and stuff. You should come out with us again sometime. That was fun. Actually, Lena and I aren't seeing each other anymore." He looks genuinely surprised by this information. "Oh shit. I didn't realize you guys were dating." "Yeah, we were together for 6 months." "Seriously?" She never mentioned having a boyfriend. "I know." He shakes his head like he's trying to process this. "That's really weird, dude. She talks about everything with us." Feel vindicated in a sad way. All those months of wondering if I was being paranoid or oversensitive. Turns out I was right. She really was hiding me from her friends, not just keeping things private, actively pretending I didn't exist. She told us she was single and looking for someone serious. Yeah, I was there when she said that. That's really messed up, man. I'm sorry. It's fine. Probably worked out for the best anyway. Walk away from that conversation, feeling closure for the first time in weeks. It wasn't in my head. It wasn't me being unreasonable or demanding. She really was living a double life and keeping me in the smaller, less important part. For 6 months, I was her secret boyfriend. Emphasis on secret. 6 months together. And for her friends, I was just friend, not bad.